What's up, YouTube? We back with another video. It's time to get back to the business, back to the football videos. It's All Pro Sports Talk, the home of sports talk, and today we're going to get into the Carolina Panthers. And is this a playoff team? Because on paper it looks like a playoff roster. Now, the Carolina Panthers have made a lot of moves in free agency by getting Hassan Reddick, trading for Sam Darnold, and doing a lot of things on this team. Let's take a look back of what happened last season. Last season, the Carolina Panthers signed Teddy Bridgewater to a 3-year contract deal, right? But the thing was with Teddy Bridgewater, he was not a franchise type of quarterback. He didn't do franchise things. The crazy part about all of this is the fact that they still found a way to be close in almost every game they played in. And they lost 8 games by 1 or 2 scores. And they went 5-11. So that could be a quick turnaround if Teddy Bridgewater could extend the field a little bit and their defense could have made some key stops on third down. This defense was very young and very inexperienced. Jeremy Chin looks like he's going to be a star safety in this NFL league. He looks amazing. Debatably their best defender, besides Byron Burns, who had 9 sacks last year. But Jeremy Chin was all over the field. He was in the box making good clutch tackles. He was flying across there wherever the ball was at. He was there. He's great in coverage. He's just a great safety for this team. And that's something that they're going to need in the secondary, because what a lot of people do not realize, the Carolina Panthers have lacked a great corner on his team since the years of Josh Norman and James Bradbury. Now you bring in J.C. Horn, a guy that you just drafted in the first round this year. You think that he's going to be the perfect person to pair up with when it comes to having a guy across from Dante Jackson. Then you have Jeremy Chin over top. The secondary is young, but it looks very good based off the talent that they can do. J.C. Horn is a good press-up corner, and guess what Dante Jackson is as well? A good press-up corner, and they're aggressive. Now, they may get a lot of penalties early on, but this secondary is going to be very aggressive, and it's going to be very hard to beat against. They add Hassan Reddick. Now, Hassan Reddick last year had 12.5 sacks. He had a 5-sack game against the Giants. Let me just say that now. So his stats are a bit inflated, but he's coming off the best season of his entire career. He had 1 sack the previous year before, but you look at him last year with the Arizona Cardinals. He was a good edge rusher. He was a good guy to come off the edge and get you sacks. 12.5 sacks. Obviously, he had 5 sacks, but he was generating a lot of pressure. He had 5 sacks against the Giants. He was generating a lot of pressure off the edge. And can he be a key guy that you can match up with Brian Burns and you have Derek Brown at the middle? This team needs to win in the trenches. This defense was horrible on third down last year. And they were horrible on second down. This team could not stop the run. They could not stop deep passes. I think that the Panthers are making strides in the right ways because you're adding so much veteranship to this defense. Something that they need is going to help the defense play better. That's the main thing with this team. They have Robbie Anderson. You have DJ Moore. Your defense has to be right. And you're going into a division. Obviously, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the favorites to win this division. But you look at the Falcons. They're in a rebuild. They just got rid of Julio Jones. They're kind of rebuilding there. You look at the Saints. I don't know what the Saints are going to be with Jameis Winston. I expect for them to still be a good, capable football team. But I look at the first game that the Panthers played against the Saints. The Panthers played this team tough. And they were in field goal range to possibly win the game or tie it up to go to overtime. Teddy Bridgewater takes a horrible sack. A 40-yard field goal turns into a 60-yard field goal attempt. And he misses the kick. And you look at what happened with the Panthers last year against the Kansas City Chiefs. They hung tough with them. It came down to, I believe, a 70-yard field goal attempt, 65, 70-yard field goal attempt, because Teddy Bridgewater could not stretch the field. And I know I'm beating up on Teddy Bridgewater. He just was not the right quarterback for this team. The right quarterback for this team is a guy that's going to take chances down the field, because you have DJ Moore and you have Robbie Anderson, 2 really good receivers. And the Panthers did lose Curtis Samuel, explosive receiver that played a little bit of running back for them because Christian McCaffrey was hurt majority of the season. I'm looking at this from this type of standpoint. Sam Darnold is here. This is make or break. This is the best team he's ever played with in his entire career. Those Jets teams that he played with were horrible. They were bad. No offensive line protection, no receivers. He was out there throwing to brick men because they couldn't catch, besides Jameson Crowder. But now you bring him over. to where he's going to have a good pass catching running back in Christian McCaffrey, who I think when healthy is the best running back in football because he can run routes, run in between the tackles, and he can get you a lot of touchdowns as well. So to me, in my opinion, he's the best running back in football when healthy. You have a decent offensive line. It's not the best by any means, but it's better than what you had with the Jets. And Sam Darnold has shown glimpses to where he can extend the play, throw across his body, and get a touchdown. You have these type of weapons. Now, he did have Robbie Anderson for a year with the New York Jets, but the way that he was being used with the Jets was not being used correctly. And you also have DJ Moore, who I believe is the #1 receiver in the NFL. 2 years back-to-back over 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns. Come on, man. He's showing that he can be a cornerstone piece for this team on offense. They re-signed Taylor Moton. Ian Thomas is still a developmental tight end to me, but he's better than any tight end that he had with the New York Jets. And also as well, Dan Arnold, very sleeper at tight end. He's a good receiving tight end in the red zone, so be on the lookout for that. The way that this team is constructed, and the way they have Matt Rule and Joe Brady, this team, they should be a playoff-bound team. Joe Brady's the same guy that took Joe Burrow, and on my list before Joe Brady got there and before he got to work with Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow was amazing his last year because he worked hard as well. He was a projected 6 to 7 round pick. He worked with Joe Brady in LSU, and he was the first overall pick. Joe Brady can be a quarterback whisperer in this league because of the way that he calls his offensive system. Sam Darnold has no excuses. And this is coming from a Sam Darnold fan. Anyone with that Jets team, I think, would look bad. With this Panthers team right here, is no reasons why they should be missing the playoffs. If their defense gets better, they should be making the playoffs for sure. They also added another corner in A.J. Boye, veteran experience. He's not the same A.J. Boye he was a couple years ago with the Jacksonville Jaguars. No. He is a guy that's going to help this team move forward and help them play the right way. And sometimes you need veterans on your team. And that is something that the Panthers have done. They have an extremely young team. They're adding veterans. That's back to the defensive side. They got Terrace Marshall in the 2nd round. I talked about this draft before. I think they had an excellent draft. They got Terrace Marshall. It's a good guy that you can put in the slot. You have your 3 receivers set already. Losing Curtis Samuel is going to hurt the explosiveness of the offense. But if McCaffrey can stay healthy, Terrace Marshall is going to feast because DJ Moore is really good. Robbie Anderson is so fast to where you basically have to have a single high safety over top. And Terrace Marshall should eat with this team with him being the 3rd option at wide receiver. The way this team looks on paper, they look like they can contend. And Shaq Thompson is still there. He's not the guy that a lot of people thought he would be, but he's still a good linebacker. This team still needs to fill that void at linebacker that Luke Kuechly left a couple years ago. But as of right now, they should be able to win a lot of games. They're not the perfect roster, but they're making perfect moves. I love the way that this team has maneuvered their way into trying to basically become a #1 team in this division. Like I said, you do have to worry about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you're going to always have to worry about the New Orleans Saints because of Sean Payton. But I'm looking at the roster, the standpoint. It may be a situation to where it doesn't matter how your house is built, is where it's located. They're located in a tough spot. You're located in a place to where you're in there with the reigning defending Super Bowl champions. And you're in there with Sean Payton, who's a great offensive mind. But can Sam Darnold resurrect his career? I think that's the biggest case of telling if this team can be a playoff team or not. I think that is what tells this team if they can keep moving forward or not. If Sam Darnold can continue and be this franchise quarterback for this team. Because since Cam Newton, the Panthers haven't had a consistent quarterback. And they didn't have consistent seasons with Cam Newton. You'll have a good season, you'll have an off season, you have a good season, you have a losing season. That's why they call Riverboat Run. And Ron Rivera was a good coach for this team. It was just a matter of time for them just move forward with different things. I'm looking at the names. I think Matt Rule, everywhere that he's went, even when he was in Temple, I get that it was college. He turned them to a winning organization. I think he turned the Carolina Panthers back to a winning organization with the keys he has. But at the end of the day, it's up to Sam Darnold. Can he lead these guys to a playoff appearance? And if he can, they have their guy. And if he can't and he has a bad season, it's time for them to draft a quarterback. And I don't know what quarterback that would be, but we will see. So let me know in the comment section, do you believe the Carolina Panthers can make the playoffs with this roster in that division? Or do you think that Sam Darnold is a bust, he's over with, and that the Panthers should be looking forward towards the future in the draft for their next NFL quarterback? Let me know all that in the comment section. If you are new, please hit the subscribe button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys to know this. I want you guys to stay safe, stay positive. I love every single last one of y'all. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks for checking it out, guys. Peace.